We all want to be happier, but how do we get there? First, we start by realizing happiness is not a destination. Being happy consists of micro action steps every single day. I'm your host, Brittany King, and I'm here to guide you along the way.
All right, Tarah Hooker, TT. Hello, my friend. I'm so excited to share your story. Even halfway through coaching, I was thinking to myself, damn, this is going to be so inspiring for other people. It's inspiring for me. My clients are my biggest inspiration, and I'm always so mind blown by the results they get. And I don't know why, because I know it's possible, but when I see it happening is when I just, my brain can't handle it sometimes. Like we'll get off a call and I'll be like, damn, that was so good. And what I mean by that is just your aha moments and your moments of reflection, and where you understand something differently about yourself than you ever have before. And I just get off those calls and I'm so impressed with your ability to go there and the willingness to change it. You were so coachable, and being coachable is one of the most important qualities to have, because if you're coachable, you will change your life. So I'm just excited to chat with you.
I'm excited.
So let's start in the beginning. You know, obviously we know each other and we've been friends for a long time, but I'm curious about what was that moment in time where you were ready? Because I know the time that you wanted to do it, you didn't sign up.
Oh yeah.
So kind of just like talk through that whole experience, because it's so relatable.
Yeah, totally. I think the first time I saw you like really thriving on Instagram, with your coaching business, I was like, ooh, what is she doing? And I really wanted to dip my toes in. To be honest, that was probably a year before I started coaching with you. I had a lot of fear around it. I had a lot of fear in my life, period. And so I was very hesitant to start, to change, to do something different, because I really thought I wasn't capable. I thought that, my story was my story, and that was just going to carry me through the rest of my life. And I was okay with being complacent and stagnant because of the story that I had in my head. So, we hopped on that one phone call and I was like, okay, I want to do it, but it just wasn't the right time. And that is what I've figured out today. But really committing and investing in myself has just changed my life completely. It was the right time when I started. It was. And I can say a million different reasons why it was the right time. But I mean, the universe provided that time. And so, yeah, it's been crazy. It's been what, 4 or 5 months. And like I said, life-changing.
So I think that is so relatable when someone wants to make a change and they're afraid of what that change requires. Yep. So you just get more comfortable with staying stagnant. Speak a little bit more about that. What was the breaking point that you had that you were like, staying the same is not an option anymore?
I had been hopping job to job. Whether it was being laid off or me being, not being fulfilled at the job. And I had been laid off from a startup. And at that point I was like, enough is enough, like what does Tarah really want? And how is Tarah going to figure that out? and really realizing that I needed the accountability piece. I needed that support. Because I didn't want to just enter another job. I wanted to do something that really filled my cup. And a lot of people would always ask me, Tarah, what do you want to do though? Tarah, what do you want to do? And my answer was consistently, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I was incapable of doing what I really wanted to do, which is to serve others. And so I think that was like a time where my husband and I sat down and he's like, what do you want? And I said, you know, I want to focus on me. And we made a plan, and I've been focusing on me for months now, and it's been beautiful. And so just the support of him, of course, the support of you, and just like really digging in. It's just, yeah. Now that I'm speaking about it, it's wild to even go back to that place where I was, because so much has changed.
I know. Oh, I have the chills all over my body as I'm listening to you share, because I remember in that first session that the belief was that you just weren't capable. And that's why you kept blocking yourself from figuring out what it is that you want.
Yeah.
And I'm curious of why you couldn't figure it out on your own. Like, what was the block of you doing it on your own? Because I do think that's where a lot of people run into when they're interested in coaching, and then they're like, I'll just figure it out on my own, but they don't. What was blocking you from figuring it out without the support of a coach?
To be honest, my pride. And I think that looking back, I always was doing things for myself and not asking for help when I really needed it. It was, for me, a sign of weakness to have that help. And so I really think just like putting my pride aside and being like, okay, I can't do this on my own. I have tried and I have tried, and something has to change. And really looking at like what can change. And it was me putting down a wall, being vulnerable, and seeking the support and the help that I needed. Knowing that that was okay to do, and that it was very uncomfortable, you know, still is sometimes.
Yeah.
Still, you know, asking for that help and needing that support, but people need people.
Just like truer words haven't been spoken. I've been thinking about that a lot. How even in my own life, I would not be where I'm at without the support of coaches, mentors, family members, and just having the courage to ask it's the biggest step. And then what you receive is so much more. So tell me about the intangible things that you've experienced, because what's crazy is it's only been 4 months. That's what's wild. It's only been 4 months, and you have completely shifted into this new version of yourself. You've shed the old layers, and now you keep evolving, and you're changing your self-concept and belief in who you are. And that's showing up in your internal world, but also in your external world. So let's start with the internal. Let's start with the things that you can't see, but have the biggest impact. So what are the intangible shifts that you've noticed since you started coaching?
A lot more acceptance of myself and where I'm at, and with others and my relationships. That acceptance piece, whoa, like just to accept where others are and where I am, and to be okay with just being. That is huge. I think that plays into a lot of compassion that I have. You know, I have a lot of compassion for others. I didn't have a lot of compassion for myself. And that is something that I discovered. And just nurturing, you know, my little T, nurturing present T, like showing up for future T, and having compassion for all of them.
So good.
Yes.
So
Oh,
good. Well, and I think, through the process, I think a lot of times people have this misconception with coaching that it's just this linear process where you just start feeling better. You start feeling better. It's not like that at
No.
all. Right.
No.
It's very uncomfortable. And you have moments where you move forward and then you go backwards.
Oh, yeah.
And tell me about that experience. Tell me what you've learned through that.
Mm.
And having the container, the coaching space to work through it.
Yes. That happened frequently, still will, where, I feel like I'm taking 5 steps forward and then I don't do the work for a couple days or maybe a week. And then I really feel the impact of not putting myself first and not doing the work. What I learned through that is okay. And that is a lesson. And that I can still see what things that I need to work on. And it's just enlightening. Before I would have just beat myself up and be like, all right, Tarah, like, told you you're not good enough. Like, told you you can't do it. Instead, where today I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I feel a little buzzy in my body. Okay, this is why I'm like tense, I wasn't doing the work. And with coaching and having that space and having you say, okay, Tarah, like, did something really go wrong when you didn't do your thought downloads for a week? And I'm like, oh, no, nothing went wrong. This is truly, truly just showing me that, like, okay, if I don't put myself first, I can't show up for others.
So good. I think that's such a good, it's such a good example of this work, because so many women have such a hard time putting themselves first. They think that it's selfish. And I know that was the case for you. You had been the caretaker for everyone. So when you shifted that and started caretaking for yourself, that was really uncomfortable. So talk about that experience and how you work through it and how coaching helps support you in that.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That was, what I knew, is to take care of everybody else and to put myself on the back burner. And even going through years of therapy, this was a topic that I always talked about. And I could see the reasons why, right? And I knew the reasons why. I think when I got into coaching, I was able to, instead of still focus on the external, go internal of, okay, like, what would it look like if I actually took care of myself? And these are the questions that you were asking me, Tarah, what would it look like if you took care of yourself? How would it feel? There were all these questions that I never really asked myself until I got into coaching. It was always focused on the external instead of going inwards. So, like, really going inwards and having the space and having you keep me accountable. And the mind-blowing questions, I was asking myself all the wrong questions. And just that little shift has helped me see that, taking care of myself allows me more capacity to take care of others. I thought I was taking care of everybody, but I was just depleting the entire time. So, like, was I really present for for other people? No, I was just so worried about taking care of this person and that person. I wasn't really giving all the love that I could give or the presence that I could give. It was so uncomfortable. And still today, there are moments where I'm like, I want to take care of something, but wait. I have to focus on me first. There was this time with Nick, and he was off of work and he wanted to go do something. And I was like, oh yeah, I was coming home from work and I was like, yeah, let's hang out. Let's go out. And then I got home and I was like, you know what? I have to do some things. And he's like, okay, like how long? I'm like 30 minutes. all of a sudden, like 2 hours passes by. He's like, okay, so we're not going to go out. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I needed to take care of myself.
Oh my God. Nick is probably like so grateful for the help, but also like, wait a second.
Yeah. No, and I mean, he appreciates it. You know, he sees the change. Like,
so good.
He even thinks it's mind blowing. Like, whoa, okay, you're taking care of yourself. Like, that's hot.
Yeah. Well, it's always the best when the people in your life notice the shift. And I think something that really stands out about you is on the outside, everyone would they would label you as very confident. They would never label you as someone that doesn't think they're capable or struggling with not feeling good enough. Like people would be mind blown because they watch you and they watch how you carry yourself and the way you interact with other human beings. And so that's one of the things that's so powerful about this work is it's all about how we perceive ourselves. And sometimes it just takes being in a container to see yourself the way the world sees you. And I think each session you saw yourself more and more and more. And this is just the beginning. This is the jump off. This is so fun. So tell me, so we talked about the intangible. What are the tangible changes and things that you've noticed in your life since starting coaching?
First and foremost, I would say my relationships have changed. The boundaries that I have set, which was another difficult area, an uncomfortable area to set. But my relationships have just flourished. I've been more vulnerable, open. I used to take on a lot of emotions. I don't do that now. Of others. And so I just think having that space to just be me and have the other person be them, the relationships have just changed.
The best.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I'm like, you do you, I'm gonna do me, and this is perfect. This is how it should be. You know, I have enrolled at IIN.
Awesome.
To be a coach. So that has been a journey. I mean, I started in January. I'm taking my first test. And that was just a huge, huge step for me. Like investing in myself through coaching with you was one thing, right? But like really investing in myself to have a career where I know I will be fulfilled is a complete other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. The way I think about the world today is not how I thought about the world, 5 months ago.
Well, and I think it's so, the investing in yourself, it's so, if you've never invested in yourself in this way, it's so scary the first time. But then after you get the return on it, right? After you notice the changes, you're like, wait, if this is what happens when I go all in, what else can I create? So it's very powerful ripple when you show up and do the work, because that's something that really brought you such great success so quickly, is you literally get what you came for. I've seen it. You show up, you watch the videos, you do your homework. We do assignments. We do little action steps. You follow through on it. You take ownership when you don't, because it's not about doing it perfectly, right? It's about the baby steps, and you own it. And you never look to me to be like, you need to fix this. Always took responsibility. And that's why you're where you're at. And this is just, now you have the foundation, and it's like you're building on such a solid ground. Whereas before you were trying to build on ground that wasn't solid. Right. It was quicksand. You would try to do something and it would suck you back down. You tried to do something else and it would suck you back down. And this is the first time in your life you actually created a foundation, and it's all internal, and everything builds off of that. Right.
I remember even beginning, I was so fearful around like, oh, I'm doing this. I don't have a full-time job. Like, financially, we're going to crumble. I'm like, how do we have more money than we had?
I love that you brought that up, because a lot of people, their objection is money. They're like, oh, I can't invest in coaching. And it's never money.
Oh,
When
no.
someone's like, oh, I need to look at my budget. And like, what your budget is. It's really comes down to belief in yourself or belief in me as a coach or belief in my process.
Yes.
And if you don't believe in one of the three parts, then it's not going to work. And most of the time it's belief in self, which I tell everyone, I'm like, if it's belief in self, like if it's belief in me and my program, my process, I'm not for everyone. And I totally get that. Find a coach that works with you. Like hands down, coaching will change your life. But if it's belief in yourself, then you need coaching, because that's exactly what we do, right? We shift those beliefs. So it ripples into all other areas of your life. And I think that one of your biggest transformations is your relationships. And it's because your relationship with yourself is the strongest it's ever been. It's amazing.
No, I know. So crazy.
It's so good. Oh my God. So good. Okay. So is there anything else that you want to share about your experience, your biggest takeaway, your biggest aha, something that you're going to continue, that you'll always remember from this experience?
I mean, like you said, I just laid my foundation. I feel like there is still a lot of work, and it's going to take practice and determination, commitment. And that is something that I took away from this, is that it's not going to be perfect, and that it is work. And if you work at it, you're going to get what you came for. I think the entire program was just incredible. Your videos are insane.
From just my little voices in your head. Oh,
insanely amazing. Like dancing, your smile, you keep things so fun and fresh. You're so engaging. You're so present. Like, I can't be any more grateful for the nudges, the little nudges, the slight nudges that you would give me, for me to see what everyone else saw in me that I didn't see. I mean, my calendar, like planning out my weeks and my days, has changed my life as well. That is something I will continue to do. The amount of calendar invite notifications I get now, it actually brings me joy instead of like overwhelmed, because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I planned this, I'm doing this, I'm committed. Then I have more, self-confidence. Thought downloads, the model.
The Holy Grail.
Life changing.
I know. Literally the Holy Grail.
Wild.
Yeah.
The manuals for other people, literally everything. I'm going to just continue to carry. It just works. It works.
Yeah.
And I can't express that enough. I mean, again, even just talking about this and talking about 4 or 5 months ago, it's wild to see the change in myself. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm so grateful.
It is so beautiful, because you are just the interactions you have with people, it will change their life. There's so much value. There's so much value in feeling your best. It's the way that you show up and interact with the human beings in your world, the ones you know, the ones that you don't know. Like the story of you walking the old man home from the grocery store.
Stefan, where are you?
Stefan. Like, that is so much value to the world of you just being you, because when people see that, they want that. They want that kind of energy. And it's so empowering and so inspiring.
Yeah.
This is just the beginning. And
I mean, you are an inspiration. I saw you and I said, okay. I was like, something's working.
Like, what is she up to? Well, and I will say, I remember we were chatting and I said, coaching friends is something that I don't always do. And in fact, I don't coach friends usually. And I have a couple of clients that were friends first. Yeah. And I say that up front, because I'm like, I put on a coach hat and I stay very neutral, and I'm going to lovingly pull you forward, and I'm going to call you out on things that you might not see, and you might not like me at times. And that's not my job for you to like me. I still love you no matter what. And you still love me, but you're not going to like me at times.
Yeah.
And there would be times where you'd be like, oh, this is what you're talking about. I'm like, yes, this is exactly it. But you really did such a good job of respecting that boundary of, hey, I'm going to let you know that this is how it's going to go. And I think that is another reason why you were able to get so much out of it in such a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you put your coach hat on, you are Coach Brittany.
I got that coach hat. I'm like, here we go.
And then you take it off and I'm like, hey girl.
Like, totally. I'm like, okay, coach hat off as a friend.
Yep. Yep. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And thank you for taking a chance on coaching. You're going to change the world just by being you. And this is one of the gifts that I have is I see things in people before they see it in themselves. I've always been able to do it. And so when you raised your hand and you were ready, I was like, finally, because I've been patiently waiting. I knew it would happen eventually. I didn't know when. I knew that I'd be able to help you. And so when you were like, it's time, I was like, yes.
Yep. You got me with that conversation at Allie and Ray's wedding.
Right? I was like, listen, if you do this, it's going to change things. And change is really scary, but I'll support you through it. So, T, I just love you so much.
I love you.
Such a gift to this world. I am so grateful that I got to coach you and hold the space for you. And I know that this is just the beginning and we're going to continue on and do magical things together.
We will continue.
Any last words before we wrap up?
No, I just want people to know that they can do it and that they can do hard things. Like Glennon Doyle says, it is true. Take a chance on yourself. Do the work, because the transformation is real. It just is. And I can't put it into words. I can't describe it. And I can get emotional, but it's true. Like it's life-changing. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get emotional either. I'm just weepy.
I know.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for allowing your gifts to be known in this world. And I'm excited to continue to witness and support your growth.
I love you. Thank you so much.